الطارش يلم عنا خط بكتابك بترحيبه لو سرابك ليلك وجنة بالدجا في الليل تسريبه
واسأل عنا له المنة قل علامات انت تدريبه مدعيكم غايب عنا والحكم ميوز في الغيبة ينبغي الإنسان يتأنى ويحكم بأحكام مصيبة لا تحس بالحيف ذا منا النصف ناخذ ونعطيبه سوي يميل وبلغه عنا بالسلام وألف ترحيب.
ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له هاديا مرشدا وأصلي وأسلم على الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وبعد. All praises belong to the Almighty Allah. May His peace and blessings be upon the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household followers, and all those who follow the path of Allah to the day of judgment. We welcome all of you to our third episode on the ideal wife. Hear the words of the Prophet of Islam. The Prophet says that after Iman, the best that a person can get is al-mar'atu as-salihah. Is a woman who is righteous. The Prophet did not talk about beauty. He did not talk about the woman of wealth. He did not talk about a woman of status. He only mentioned woman of righteousness, a woman of piety. Honestly, to be frank with you, the woman of piety is a rare commodity, in quotes. The woman of righteousness is difficult to come by. And when you get, inshallah, by His grace and power, you enjoy the life here and the hereafter. Because when you settle into marital life with a woman of piety, she exhibits trust and faith in Allah, which should be the foundation of every life in this world. This woman cannot be gotten easily. Cannot be gotten easily. A woman of piety is difficult to come by. We are living in an age where material things, material possessions, and things that draw beauty or carry beauty, apparent beauty, but may not be valuable, are the things that people cherish. A friend was going to get married, and he sought my opinion on the kind of woman he would have to marry. I simply told him that what I'm going to propose for you to be your partner, female partner, you need to do serious prayers to get such a woman. If it is beauty, they are in abundance on the streets. If it is a woman of wealth, they are there in abundance. If you're looking for a woman of status, they are there, out there. But woman of piety, a righteous woman that the Prophet mentioned as being a treasure, if you happen to acquire one, you need to pray for such a woman to come your way through the power and unique intervention of the Almighty. The second characteristic of an ideal wife is her humility. Oh Allah. Where do we get? What are these women? Oh Allah, guide us to these women. Very humble. And humility, according to Imam Al-Ghazali, together with patience, consider them to be the most potent traits of all the moral traits. Or, in another expression, they are the kingpins of moral character. Humility. Humility works like a magnet. The Prophet says, "Man tawada lillahi rafa'ahu Allah." That anyone who humbles himself, Allah raises the person up. And I just mentioned that humility acts like a magnet. Magnet because it draws other people to the one who has it. Invariably, therefore, when a woman has it, very humble woman, and the husband is also an ideal husband, just picture how the relationship is going to be. The woman with her calmness and humility will always draw the husband to herself. Number 3. The Prophet says that وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةٌ فِي بَيْتِ زَوْجِهَا, that the woman, the pious woman, is the caretaker of the husband's home. What do we mean by caretaking? It means that the territorial domain of the man, in terms of physical domain, physical realm, the woman will make sure nothing is stolen from the place. Not only that, she will make sure she preserves her fidelity, purity, chastity, her privacy, only for her husband. I repeat, that wonderful woman who is living in these challenging times will preserve her privacy, her fidelity, her chastity, only for the husband. This woman is a woman who is always preparing the home for the arrival of the husband. That is one aspect of fidelity. Preparedness to receive the husband. The ideal wife, number 4, exhibits kindness to the husband. When we were growing up, our mothers made sure that they would not eat in the evening until our fathers had arrived and had started their meals before they would eat theirs. That was a way of showing kindness to their husbands. Even though their stomachs are empty, but a wait for our arrival of the husband in the evening, most of the time before Maghrib. A kind woman, if she has any support she can give to the husband, she will. Have we forgotten what Khadija did for the Prophet Sallallahu? Giving him all the finances that the Prophet needed. Khadija did that because she was a kind woman. That was why during the time that the Prophet was alive, Aisha would find him mention the name of Khadija every now and then. Then one day, Khadija, Aisha, radiallahu anha, said to the Prophet, why are you so much worried about this old woman? In reference to Khadija, who had died anyway, the Prophet's first wife. According to Aisha, by the time she landed with that question, why are you so much worried about this old woman? According to her, by the time she landed, she realized that the eyes of the Prophet and the face had turned red. When the Prophet opened his mouth to react to the question put to him by Aisha, he said, the Prophet speaking, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khadija, Khadija, Khadija. When the whole world rejected me, she accepted Islam and gave me the psychological stability to do Allah's work. When the whole world, Prophet speaking again, when the whole world refused to give me financial help to do Allah's work, this woman gave me huge financial help, meaning she gave me all her money to do Allah's work with. If you are lucky to have a woman of this type, the world will never hear of your troubles. Not that troubles will not come, or they will come. But because of the way they are contained, the troubles are contained with support from the kind woman, people will not hear of it. The ideal wife, number 5, does not only care for the husband, he cares for the husband's family members too. And here I would like to draw on an example from my own home. My first wife, Haja Yasmin, stayed with my mother from August 2000 in my house. From August 2000 all the way to October 2011. So a rough calculation will give you about 11 years, 2 months or 3 months. Haja Yasmin took care of my mother, beloved mother, Haja Hajara Duku, for 11 years and about 3 months. And when my mother, before she passed on, she was down with stroke for 3 months. It was my wife who was taking good care of her, bathing her, cleaning her up, feeding her, everything. My wife abandoned her work, seamstress work, for 3 months. She only started work after the death of my mother. Therefore, on 3 occasions before my mother died, she invited me. She said, Akwesi. I was born on Sunday, so she used to call me Akwesi. Take good care of Yasmin for me in my absence. Take good care of Yasmin for me in my absence. Take good care of Yasmin for me in my absence. 3 good times before she died. Why did she say that and made such a huge request from my humble self? You know why? Because of the kind of good treatment she received from my wife. And that is how it has to be. The ideal wife has to take the man on board and his family members. And to top it up further, I can stick my neck out to say that none of my family members has ever raised a finger against my wife because of her openness, frankness, and kindness. Allah has gifted her with a big heart to share with other people what she has. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her the reward for that. Not only that, number 6, the woman, ideal wife, is a source of comfort for the wife, husband. Is it in speech? Is it in character? She tries even when she is provoked. She tries to control her anger. The Prophet says that when you say somebody is courageous, or no, somebody is patient, say somebody is patient. He says, "As-sabru 'inda as-sadmati al-ula." The patience is when you are hit. Your husband has provoked you because he's a human being. He can make mistakes. He says words of pain to you. And you have the chance to hit back and reply and pay back. But because you are an ideal wife who makes the effort to give the husband comfort, you hold back your anger. And the words, the bitter words that would have come out of your mouth, you keep them back. All because you want to give your wife, your husband, peace and comfort. And let me assure you, as you do all these things, the angels will be recording them in your scale of reward. Hear the words of Salama, quoting the Prophet Muhammad, that any woman who, when at the time of her death, the husband is satisfied with her, Allah will grant her paradise. Additionally, the ideal wife does not relax in trying to support the husband in the effort to build their level of spirituality, the level of their closeness to Allah. So you find the ideal wife sometimes waking up the husband for prayer, sometimes reminding the husband that we have to read the Quran in the morning together, sometimes reminding the husband that let's sit down and do adhkar in the morning after Salat al-Fajr. Sometimes reminding the husband of the good things that the two of them will have to do together to support Allah's cause. If the man has any business, if the man has any asset, anything that has to do with protecting the interest of the man, the husband, this woman will stand up and protect it. If the woman has to go any length, which is legal, to protect the husband's interest, she will do it. The husband's interest is just burning on her heart. And one of the things she tries to avoid, because one of the things that disturbs marital relationships is external influence. Bear in mind, the ideal wife is a woman of piety. It's a woman who is conscious of the fact that the husband is the friend. So she does not allow any female friend to come to the house except through the permission of the husband. Some of the things that we hear, and sometimes we see, where a woman is recalcitrant, doesn't listen to the husband's advice, and brings in friends. These are the very friends who are going to kill this relationship. They will start to gossip. They will start to tell lies about the man or the woman. This brings into focus that the woman will have to guard against any external dictation from whichever source. She should not allow parents to interfere in their relationship. She should not allow her siblings to interfere in their relationship. Everything should be kept between the two of them. If it is sweet, they should swallow it and share it with others. If it is painful, they should keep it themselves and don't share the information with anybody else. Because the more you share information about your pain, the more sometimes you lose respect in the eyes of people. That this is a person who cannot even keep his own secret. You become very light in the eyes of people. So it is your duty as a woman to make sure that your husband's secrets are protected. Again, madam, please carry in your heart the spirit of forgiveness. This quality of forgiveness is so important. For me, it's one of the vibrant traits that protect and hold marital relationship together. It is important to note that Philip McGraw says that there is empowerment in forgiveness. If your husband offends you and you do not forgive, he enters the territory of the home and you are annoyed. So the usual welcoming spirit will not be there. Because as an ideal wife, when your husband comes in, you receive him at the entrance of the hall, you give him a hug, and they say, sweetheart, you are welcome. We thank Allah that you are back home. When you are annoyed and you haven't forgiven, these wonderful things that you should be doing to take the wonderful reward in the sight of Allah, because your heart is burning with rage and anger and fury, you will not act and get reward from Allah. Your husband enters as if no one has entered. Forgiveness is extremely an important quality. Sincerity in conduct. These two words, people mix them up. Honesty and sincerity. Honesty belongs to the spoken word. And sincerity is when you translate honesty into action. That is. So sincerity means that everything that you do, we should have a flavor or a sense of piety in it. When you mention anything to your husband, it should have flavor of sincerity. Whatever you do in the house should have a flavor of sincerity. Imagine the house. The husband is sincere as an ideal wife. Husband. The woman is sincere as an ideal wife. Inshallah, the children who are going to come out of these two human beings are going to be wonderful children. Your commitment to family life is extremely important. As an ideal wife, maybe you become an ideal mother, which we'll talk about later. You become an ideal mother, starting with your status as an ideal wife. Please, 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 your commitment to your family, your husband and children, number one. final thing, or two things that I would ask the ideal wife to do. Please take note. One word will describe it: beautification. There are some women, they only beautify themselves when they are going for weddings. In their homes, from the kitchen to the bedroom. For me, okay, alhamdulillah, none of my wives does that. But if you're a woman and you're doing that, stop. You see, the woman is the flower of the home. The woman is the flower of the home. And a flower should always look beautiful. So after the chores, this woman will have to beautify herself up for the husband. The golden ornaments that you wear only on Fridays or Sundays when you're going for a wedding, please wear them for the husband in the room. A Muslim woman is not supposed to have kittens, or paint the mouth, or eyelashes and the rest. Please, in the home, if you have your period, you can do your kittens to beautify yourself for the husband. When the period is over, then you have to clean it off. As for the eyelashes and the petty for your mouth to look beautiful, the face polishing the face, styling the hair, all that for the husband, of course, you know the kind of dress that you have to put on. I don't need to tell you. You know it. A fantastic and wonderful nightie. Depending upon the color of the woman. She's a dark woman, dark in complexion, then cream and white will do. If she's fair, then red will do. If she's in between coffee or copper color, then brown will do, or any of those, blue color, and so on and so forth. What I'm saying for short is that the woman will have, ideal wife, will have to beautify herself. And when you finish, whatever your husband is sitting, just go straight and look into his eyes and say, sweetheart, I love you. Then, when you do this, you check if the man will not act. When this beautification happens in the home, something sparkles in the heart of the man. His mind and his whole psyche changes to show more love towards you. The last point is a word of caution for those women out there who goes to bed in shorts with belt on. There are some ladies, they wear short, they put on belt again when they are going to bed, as an expression of their annoyance and anger at their husbands. You know the hadith which says that if the man wants to have sex with the wife and the wife refuses for no apparent and plausible reason, refuses to give herself to the husband, the hadith says that the angels will be cursing the woman. So one key area which makes men's eyes very red is for the wife to refuse the man access to sex. Beautify yourself for it. In conclusion, because I suggested from the beginning that this relationship should be built on piety, on love for Allah, on the fear of Allah, on commitment to Allah, I have to conclude by saying that every life that you lead with your husband, there should be flavor of piety, sincerity, commitment to one another. And inshallah, the sky will be your limit in terms of children. The sky will be your limit in terms of the support you will have for one another, in terms of the wonderful children you're going to have, in terms of your reward in the hereafter. If you do not get the pleasure of Allah through your marriage, if you do not win the pleasure of Allah by being wonderful to your wife and by being wonderful to your husband, then, as Imam Shafi'i said, if you do not act in a manner that will win you pleasure of Allah, then you have cheated yourself. May Allah take that far away from us and help us to be on the right track of seeking His pleasure by satisfying our husbands legally as required by Sharia of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.